Okay. This is the last one I'm going to do, certainly before tomorrow morning, because I'm going out with my family tonight. Yeah. Why should we be in London tomorrow at 12 o'clock at Victoria Station? Why? What's the purpose of going for a walk through London, ending in Parliament Square? I think it's put very, very simply. It's for our children. We're doing this tomorrow for our children and for our grandchildren. No ifs or ands or buts. And I'm going to read a message that I got on the last YouTube video I put out, the last stream I did put out from a lady in Scotland. I'm not going to name her, but I'm just going to read what she said. Okay. Morning, Richard. I'm not going to put a Scottish accent, by the way. Morning, Richard from, I'm really tempted to. Morning, Richard from sunny Scotland. About to set off for the 10-hour drive down and another 10 hours back after the rally. So, yeah, over 1,000 miles round trip by grandma car. I'm glad to do it because my grandchildren and their children need to know their grandma loves them enough to take the painful, exhausting journey, sleeping in her car, eating pot noodles. This is what she said. I think it's fantastic. Well done, this lady. At the loo, we'll roll on the pit stops. When you in leadership for the last 20 years after the Second World War, we're all past Nazi leaders. We need to remember we are having our Dunkirk moment in history, and get there. If not, fly the flag in support in your local town square. So this lady is coming from Scotland. I don't know how old she is. I'm guessing she's well into it. I mean, I'm not going to say. I mean, who knows how old she is? But she's not a spring chicken, right? And she's coming all the way from Scotland, sleeping in a car, okay, eating pot noodles. She's going hardcore here. I mean, this is like being on a military exercise, and she's doing it because she loves her kids and loves her grandkids and loves her great grandkids, and that's why we all need to be in London. Not just now, but if we can't get to London, we need to be involved in this movement. I've said it before. We need 30 million people in this movement to change this country. To win this country back, we need 30 million people to be standing with us, voting with us, and thinking with us. Like I said, it's a conspiracy. Conspiracy means breathe together. We need to be breathing together as one people. So I'm not going to go on any longer. You've probably all seen the tweet that Tommy put out. Even now, and the police officer that asked us to do this, asked us to show in the film. I don't believe it's come from him. I believe it's come from people higher up the chain than him. Because to be fair, credit where credit's due, that guy's been fairly reasonable in the whole process of planning this event. And it seems like people higher up have thrown a spanner in the works, not demanding, but putting extreme pressure on to see the film. Not saying what the consequences of not seeing the film are, but putting pressure on to see the film. And I know that there's nothing in that film that would incite anybody to do anything. However, even if there was, it is not in those officers' remit to curtail our free speech. And like I said to the officer when we were talking in the conversation earlier, what you're going to ask for next? You're going to ask to see my speech if I'm making a speech? It's totally unacceptable. It's a complete attack on our democratic rights to try and demand to see that film, because a lot of people would have folded, but me and Tommy weren't going to fold. It was just a complete no. They cannot see the film before all our people see it, and the fact that they asked for that shows that even at this late stage, there are people high up in the Met who are intent on using Machiavellian tactics, manipulating tactics, using the threat of the law again, because there was nothing said that there would be any sanction whatsoever, but there's always that implied threat. If the police ask you officially for something, there's an implied threat that they can enforce it. And I'm absolutely convinced they can't enforce it. And I'm absolutely convinced if they try to enforce it, they themselves will be breaking human rights law. So, they're doing what they always do. And I think after this, if anything happens that prevents the showing of this film, I think Mark Rowley has to resign, because I'm convinced that would cause a major problem on the day. So hopefully the Met have seen some sense. They've realized asking to see the film was totally unreasonable, and they're going to play ball with us. That's what we're hoping. If they don't do that, it won't spoil the day. We'll still go there. We'll still be peaceful. We'll still do our thing, but what they will do is create a massive headache for themselves, because instead of having 20,000 people who are quite happy to go to an event and be in really good form, they're going to have 20,000 people who absolutely know, because they'll have seen it tomorrow, that there is two-tier policing. So all that said, it is imperative that we behave ourselves impeccably tomorrow. We are not like the terror marchers. We're not like the hate marchers. We're not wanting to attack police officers. We're not wanting to cause disorder. Our whole premise of being there tomorrow is to be completely peaceful and completely lawful. And especially for ladies like this grandma from Scotland, we don't want the elderly and pensioners and disabled people and veterans and grannies and granddads and young children seeing any disorder tomorrow. We want them to have a good, happy day, a festival. We're not going looking for the left. We're not going looking for the jihadists. We're doing a demonstration about two-tier policing. It's nothing to do with any of those other tramps. We don't want anything to do with them. We don't want them near us. We don't want to see them. And it's imperative that we're peaceful. It's imperative that we're on our best behavior. We're not, walking around with cans of beer, wearing masks, and basically not being respectful. We want to be respectful to the police officers on the ground. We want to be respectful to other people that are at the event. We want to be respectful to the general public. We want to be respectful if you see any Muslim ladies or Muslim men. We want to be completely respectful to all sections of the community. In fact, we welcome Muslims to come to our event tomorrow. No problem whatsoever. They are more than welcome to join us and march with us. If they, like we've kept saying, if they have inside their hearts the red, white, and blue of the United Kingdom, then they are welcome to march with us, irrespective of creed, colour. We want everyone there, because Britain is made up of all people that live in it. And what we're trying to do is instill what we would call a civic nationalism, where people buy into a set of values, they buy into a belief system, and that belief system informs how they behave, and that belief system informs how they behave about their country and how they show their patriotism. And that's what we want tomorrow. We want people who are proud to be British, who love this country, who will stand shoulder to shoulder with each other and will say, yes, I am part of the family of the British peoples. That's what we want tomorrow. People who love this country, care about this country. I served in the British military. One of my best mates in the army was a Somali lad. I served with lads from the West Indies, served with Asian and West Indian lads in the military. Okay, so none of us in the military looked at the color of the skin of the guy that was standing next to him, or the guy that was standing in a trench next to him, or the guy that was patrolling the streets of Northern Ireland next to him. In fact, we had their backs the same way they had our backs. And I tell you something about the black lads that served in Northern Ireland. They get more racist abuse in Northern Ireland than I've seen anywhere else in the United Kingdom from Republicans and IRA supporters. But that's another story. So there's a lot of hypocrisy here from the left. There's a lot of insipid racism from the left, and there's a lot of hatred of the British working class from the left. And we're going to show tomorrow what the British working class really is. A people that everybody in this country can be proud of and say, yes, we'll stand shoulder to shoulder with these men, because these men are the men whose fathers and grandfathers built this country with blood, sweat, and tears. They're the man whose fathers and grandfathers stormed the beaches of Normandy. They're the man whose fathers and grandfathers fought in the jungles of Burma. They're the man whose fathers and grandfathers stood for this country in its hour of greatest need. Well, this is becoming our hour of greatest need. That's what's happening right here, right now. This is our day to stand for our country. This is our time to stand for our children and grandchildren and make them proud, so that in 50 and 100 years' time, people say, look how they stood, look how they behaved, look how they carried themselves. And they're proud to have you and me and Tommy and all the other patriots, Paul Thorpe, Danny Roscoe, all the patriots, proud to have them as their fathers and their grandfathers who stood up for them. And it starts today in 2024. Just like Churchill said, and I'm not going to try and be Winston Churchill. My goodness, never go there. But Churchill said, it's not the beginning of the end. It's the end of the beginning. And that's what it is. This is a long struggle. This is a generational struggle to take our country back. This could take 20 years, but we've got to do it in 5. We've got to be ready 4 or 5 years' time to stand political candidates and win our country back, because the only way we can do it, is through the ballot box. Any other way leads to ruin for everybody. So in 4 or 5 years' time, with boots on the ground and boots to the ballot box, we will win. And that's what this is all about. I'll see you all tomorrow.